A man attacked a skateboarder that he thought was a fish. A private security force leads to the arrest of hundreds of shoplifters in London. And a man is accused of trying to hire a prostitute for his horse. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the universe. I'm Jonesy, the host of Weird AF News, and you're amazing. A man attacked a skateboarder who he thought was a fish. This story is out of Salt Lake City, or as you might refer to it, Bath Salt Lake City, because it sounds like this guy's on some bath salts. Some strong chemicals have to make you mistaken a skateboarder for a fish. Let's find out some details. What is he on? And was this in fact a fish? A man in Salt Lake City is accused of attacking a skateboarder with a machete. A machete! Of all the things to attack a fish with, a machete. You're supposed to use a net or a rod to catch the fish, bro, not a machete. Is this some new sport? Blade fishing? I've never heard of this. He attacked the skateboarder with a machete because he allegedly believed that the skateboarder was a fish. Well, let's find out what kind of fish he thought it was. He whipped out a machete, so I'm going to assume he thought it was a large tuna. His name is Ryan Neil Davis, age 23. He's a resident of Salt Lake City. I would love to know the name and number of his dealer, because this guy has access to a pipeline of some good shit. He was booked into the county jail for investigation of aggravated assault. According to the affidavit, a man was skateboarding near Main Street just before 1 a.m. last night. As the man passed Mr. Davis produced a very large machete. It doesn't say where he produced it from. I'm going to guess his pants. Maybe he had it on a sling, the way that you would carry a ninja sword. He probably had a sheath for it. I don't know why. I'm trying to imagine why he's carrying this around. It's not important for the story. I'm just trying to sprinkle in some details and get some answers here. He swung it at the skateboarding victim, this machete. It struck him on the left forearm, causing a half-inch laceration. It required stitches. Thankfully, he didn't strike the guy in the temple. It was just a forearm laceration. When questioned about the assault, Mr. Davis allegedly stated that he was attempting to cause the victim harm because he thought the victim was a fish. Well, in his defense, the victim was skateboarding uphill, He thought it was a salmon because it was uphill. Get it? Because salmon go upstream. All right, the jokes aren't good, but so what? Now, the article says this isn't Mr. Davis's first go-round with the authorities. It comes less than 2 months after he was convicted of 3 counts of attempted aggravated assault. In that case, he approached 3 fast food employees and threatened them with a knife. All right, so this guy's just on the streets after that. Yeah. How do we stop all the violent criminals in the U.S.? I don't know. Maybe when you get a hold of them, keep them for a bit. Keep them. You might want to keep them for a bit. They like to whip out blades in public. Now, clearly, this guy's a violent person. He also has a mental disorder of some sort. If you're going to mistake a skateboarder for a fish, some people will say, well, no, he's just making it up. He's lying. But I kind of believe him. No one who's lying would ever come up with such a cockamamie explanation. I would love to know what the moment before was. That he just walk up to the skateboarder and be like, hey, what are you doing here, fish? And the skateboarder's like, I ain't a fish, man. I'm a skateboarder. All right, if you ain't a fish, do a kickflip. A private police force leads to the prosecution of hundreds of shoplifters in London. A private police force has helped prosecute 300 shoplifters with a 100% conviction rate after the regular police officers failed to crack down on these store thefts. This company is headed by a former Scotland Yard detective chief inspector. The company has expanded to cover about 20 retail and business districts in central and outer London. Retailers in the area pay for this firm's detectives to patrol their area. They catch shoplifters, and this leads to the prosecution of the shoplifters. This is fascinating. Maybe we have something to learn here. This firm is called TMI. T-M-E-Y-E, not T-M-I, the initial I. They guarantee that their plainclothes officers will be on the scene within minutes of a phone or an app alert of a theft, and they will apprehend the shoplifter. They are prepared to use, quote, reasonable force under Section 3 of the Criminal Law Act, but will only do so if a suspect is aggressive or violent. 98% of those arrested, quote, by the private detectives plead guilty because most are caught with the goods and confess to the crime at the scene, which is recorded on the officer's body-worn videos. Now, we have a quote here from David McKelvey, who's founder of TMI. He says, "Our conviction rate is 100% because the evidence is put together by experienced detectives and reviewed independently by very experienced solicitors as well. More importantly, we are turning up to court with a full case file and an experienced counsel with full knowledge of the case." It says here the courts treat the private prosecutions like any other by the Crown Prosecution Service, which means that shoplifters can face up to 7 years in jail for goods worth more than $200 and up to 6 months for those less than $200. Well, I mean, they have a completely different system over there. 7 years in jail for goods over $200. I believe in the state of California, you could steal up to $800 or $900, and it's only treated as a misdemeanor. So 7 years. Wow. So a little more strict over there. The retailers have, of course, turned to the firm as police can't provide the same physical presence in order to tackle the epidemic of thefts going on. Under a new national action plan announced on Monday, officers will only attend incidents if there is violence against a store employee. So they only show up when there's violence. There's a lot of smash and grabs going on all over the world, it seems. I thought it was mostly in the U.S., but clearly this is an issue in London. We have another quote from Mr. McKelvey. He says, "The most important point is that we are on the scene within minutes of any offense, or at the time of an offense, actually catching them in the act. That is where the police need to start looking at that old-fashioned Bobby on the beat." It says here the detectives that work for the TMI have a dedicated iPhone number and WhatsApp for retailers, which means any known shoplifter can be tracked from the point they arrive to the point they leave a retail store, and each store passes on the intelligence. On one of the newer beats in a place called Rumford, East London, they have been catching 20 shoplifters a week. The detectives will also serve shoplifters with a trespass notice if they've been prolific, meaning that if they return, they will face a burglary charge for illegally entering premises. And burglary carries a maximum sentence of 14 years, which is double that for shoplifting. Mr. McKelvey says, "That's a pretty big deterrent for most of these shoplifters." I mean, this is a fascinating case study on how one community is tackling the issue of ubiquitous shoplifting that's been going on since the pandemic, it seems. I'm not sure you can cut and paste this into the United States, but I'd imagine if given the opportunity, a lot of retailers here would opt for a private force like this because the police don't do a damn thing in these instances. Now, I don't personally blame the police in the U.S. They have bigger fish to fry than just smash and grabs at a 7-Eleven. We have a very, very violent crime on a daily basis, and it's everywhere, in every community, in every city. So the police are on to bigger things over here. But it doesn't help that lawmakers then come forward with what I alluded to earlier, which is changing the definition of a misdemeanor or a felony when it comes to robbery. So, that doesn't help the cause. And then, of course, you have overcrowded prisons over here, too, where even if they get you for something, they just let you out in a week. There's just no room. So you pulled a knife on the In-N-Out staff? Nah, you're on probation. Just get out there. Stop pulling knives, all right? Don't you dare pull a machete on a skateboarder either, thinking it's a fish, all right? We trust that you're going to be good. Yay! Want to create a podcast? Spotify's platform lets you easily make, record, distribute a podcast everywhere, even earn a little bit of money, all in one place too, for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. You record and edit on your phone or your computer. You send it to Spotify, and everywhere podcasts can be heard. They even have video podcasting options. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions as well. Best of all, it's free. Try it. download Spotify for podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. A man is accused of trying to hire a prostitute for his horse. I'm going to repeat that title because it's a doozy. A man is accused of trying to hire a prostitute for his horsey. A prostitute for his horsey. Oh, it's been a good horsey. I want to reward my good horsey with a prostitute. Most people reward their good horse with, I don't know, carrots or perhaps a few sugar cubes. Not this guy. He's like, I'm going to get you a prostitute, buddy. Plot twist. The prostitute's name is Sugar Cubes. Hey! Stupid. All right, enough of the jokes. Let's get into the details of this horseplay. This guy's in Western Washington. A Longview man is accused of attempting to hire a prostitute online for himself and his miniature horse. Oh, the old hooker horse threesome. The zoophilia combo platter. This guy's name is Jad Shipman. He's 48 years old, quite bored. Has a little expendable cash. He got a tax return recently. He's like, I'm going to have a good time this weekend, me and my horse. Now, he's been booked in the county jail for first-degree attempted animal cruelty and one count of patronizing a prostitute, according to the court documents. Mr. Jad Shipman was communicating with an individual on a forum-based website where users can solicit prostitution. Shipman allegedly offered to pay $440 to a prostitute to travel to Longview, Washington, to touch him and to touch his miniature horse as well in a sexual manner. According to the report, Shipman told the potential prostitute that he was having a difficult time finding a willing participant to join him. And he said, quote, "The last two gals I asked said it was noticeably outside their comfort zone." Yeah, it's outside their comfort zone. Yeah, what a surprise. They don't want to sexually please you and your miniature horse at the same time? Wow, what prudes these girls are, huh? You can't, you used to get a prostitute to go to bed with you and your animals. Not anymore. Sheesh. It turns out the prostitute on the forum reported this individual. I mean, imagine for you to shock a prostitute, for you to insult a prostitute, what you have to offer, the degenerate place you have to go for a prostitute to say, you know what, you're a sick individual. I'm going to report you to the authorities. Which you'd imagine she's going to jeopardize her own position and possibly the position of the prostitute forum itself, reaching out to the authorities. That's how much this guy freaked her out. A deputy arrived at Shipman's residence and saw two miniature horses on his property. A resident told the deputy that Shipman was a partial owner of these animals. 4 days later, Shipman sat down for an interview with the local deputies, who reportedly told them, after being read his rights, he told them that he did offer an individual cash for some sexual purposes. He admitted during the interview also that he had had prior sexual contact with some animals as well. I love how this guy just spilled the beans. Yeah, we'd like to ask you about miniature horses and prostitution. Oh yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, I've had some sexual contact with animals. I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, you ever been duck hunting? Well, you ain't been duck hunting with me before. Hey, sometimes we got some downtime, and I like to get a little frisky with the dogs. All right, clearly this guy's got a mental disability of some sort. Very, very deviant, very deviant. These fetishes often slip into the realm of, I would say, complete psychopathy. This guy's no different. He could have gotten out of all of this if he just told the police something like, my horse, that's what I call my penis. Yay! Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for spending some time with me in the Weird AF News podcast on this Thursday episode. I appreciate everybody who's reached out to me over the week, sending me some Florida articles. Very important, very necessary for tomorrow's episode. For those of you who are new to Weird AF News, the daily Weird News podcast, on Friday, I only do weird news from the state of Florida. We call it Florida Fridays, so be prepared for that. And If you guys want to send me anything, my email is funnyjones@gmail.com. So there's still some time. Send me those Florida articles that you come across. If you want to call the show because a number of these stories, or maybe even one of these stories, triggered you, and you'd like to express yourself, call 646-450-2012. Leave me a voicemail. Try and keep the swearing to a minimum. I would appreciate that. I'm going to publish some phone calls after this as well. Stick around for that. Got some good ones from some classic OG fans of the Weird AF News podcast. What else do I have to say? I think I should just wrap up this outro. If you want to support the show, go to weirdafnews.com and you can buy me a coffee, or you can join the Patreon over there, or download the Patreon app on your phone and do a search for Weird AF News. That's another way to support the show. Or just listen whenever you have a spare moment. Listen, and then, maybe have a friend over to have a listening party. Have you guys ever had a Weird AF News listening party? That sounds like a good time. Pass a doobie around. Doobie? Who calls it a doobie, Jonesy? You know who calls it a doobie? Everyone that was in the Mystery Machine. Yeah, you guys know the people I'm talking about. Yeah, they called them doobies back then, guys. Yeah. Any Scooby-Doo fans out there? I like the classic Scooby-Doo from the late 60s. That one was good. That was good. You can watch them all on YouTube for free. They're all on there. It's awesome. Yeah, Scooby-Doo's great, man. I watched it as a kid. I loved it. Like now you can watch all of the cartoons you loved as a kid on YouTube. They're pretty much all on there for free. You can watch like hours and hours of old G.I. Joe cartoons, Transformers cartoons. Do you guys remember that show, The Mask? That was another good cartoon. Anyways, they're all on YouTube. YouTube is amazing. I just enjoy it so much. What a great time we live in. So much entertainment at our fingertips, mostly for free. It's unbelievable. And Netflix is going up on their charges. Netflix, yeah, keep raising your prices, Netflix. I dropped out months ago. I'm not paying for this crap anymore. I got everything for free on YouTube, man. I don't need that. Anyways, I'm rambling now. This has become personal. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I love you. We'll see you tomorrow for Florida Friday, and good luck with your life, man.
Hey, Jonesy. Love the show. You're hilarious. However, your fans aren't. I think you should stop playing people's messages to your listeners. They're not funny. And I shut it off every time it comes on. Okay, bye.
Hi, Jonesy. It's the Florida Friday girl. I'm just calling because I was actually just calling for Lily because her message was so sweet, and just the thought of being able to put a smile on anybody's face just warmed my heart. And I just want to tell Lily, I don't know what you're going through, but you are loved and you're thought about. And there's a saying that goes, there'll be trials and tribulations in this life, but if you hold on, joy will come in the morning. So I'm just thinking about you, and I hope things get better for you. And I meant to call you out, Jonesy. That one episode where you howled like a lunatic, I laughed from my toes like you're crazy. But keep doing what you do, and thank you for everything, and good luck with your life.
Hey, Jonesy, this is Becca. I just wanted to reach out and say hey, and this is for Lily. She called in the other day. You did a cameo for her. I have felt the need to reach out to one of my fellow teachers. I don't know what's going on, Lily, but I do know how hard teaching is. It's just an exhausting profession. But you know how much the kids mean, and I hope that whatever your situation is, it gets better. This is an exhausting time of year. Getting the new school year started, it feels like you're trying to lift the entire planet and get things organized and spinning. So I'm hoping that you're doing all right and thinking about you and the other teachers out there trying to keep things in line. Thanks a lot for everything. Thanks, Jonesy, for sharing this. Bye.
Hey, Jonesy, this here's Skeeter calling from Jacksonville, Florida, the largest city in the contagious 48 states of the United States of America. You know, we're located right here on the Atlantic coast of the United States of America, and I think this would be the perfect spot to hold the Weird AF News podcast. Yes, right here from the state of Florida. And if you were serious about what you said on yesterday's podcast about giving up the closet, I mean, you were so frustrated with what's going on here in America. I mean, with this abortion thing going down in Texas where they can't use the roads and all this other kind of stuff in the stories you covered. I mean, you know that for some time I've been trying to be your co-host on the show. I mean, I've talked about it many times, and I think that besides being the perfect co-host, that, I mean, now if you're going to give up the closet, then I'm just the perfect person to take over the show. And I mean, I don't have to move to California to do that. I can do it right here from Florida. I mean, after all, you got Florida Friday and everything. I mean, what perfect place to hold the show than right here from Florida. And besides, I mean, I got my backyard menage a trois anyway, so I wouldn't want to give that up. I mean, I got anacondas, and I got iguanas, and I got, what else I got? I mean, I got all kinds of things in there. I mean, there's all kinds of Florida wildlife that I got. I mean, especially these kinds of things that got swept north during the hurricane. I mean, even my backyard above pool, right now I got me a baby manatee. Do you know about the manatee? You know, the sailors used to think that it was the mermaids calling to them, but really it was just the mantisees. They gave them that name, a proper name for them, when they realized that they really weren't mermaids, but they were mantisees in the water, these big, like, seal kind of things, kind of like a walrus, but they gave them the proper name of mantisee because it was really a fantasy and of man, so they named them their proper name that they have now, mantisee. But anyway, I'm more than willing to take over the show, and I'm the perfect person to do it, Jonesy, because, you know, I talked about being your co-host before, so it's just the perfect thing at the perfect time, because if you'd had it with American or thinking of like going north to Canada's, well then this is just the perfect time and the perfect place, and I'm the perfect, what's that? No, I ain't talking to your cousin Becky. I know you think she's a whore. I'm talking to Jonesy. He's going to give up the show, and I'm going to take it over, and I'm going to host it right here from Florida. Jonesy, I got a situation here. I got to go, but I will take over the show, especially if it's worth $1,900, like you said before. We're talking some serious money here. So, I mean, yeah, I'll do it, Jonesy. I'll do it. Just give me the contract, and I'll sign it.